Hey, I wish I was coming home to her.
Yeah, just wait till we hit Paris.
Seems like a long way off. Remember, no digging in at the shore. You've got to advance.
Over 60 million people were killed in World War II. However, World War II's fatality statistics vary, with estimates of total deaths ranging from 50 million to 80 million people. There was no limit and no excuse for man's cruelty. Hello Call of Duty fans and gamers. Today I'll be reviewing Call of Duty World War II, the latest first-person shooter, and it's developed by Sledgehammer Games and it's published by Activision. So it's currently out for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One and Microsoft Windows, with the Microsoft Windows version being developed by Raven Software. So Call of Duty this time around is set back in World War II, and it's good to see it's removed the advanced system of movement present in the latest futuristic Call of Duty titles, which include the double jumping and the wall running. So making a return, it's the traditional movement, so making you feel like a human being again. So as they say in all their press conferences lately, with this game, it's taking it back to the boots on the ground gameplay style. So players rely on a squad. So you've got a squad based environment. So you got to have your medic squad mates to provide health packs, as well as other squad members to provide ammunition. Other squad members can also spot enemies, which is very useful, and also soldiers in the campaign can be captured, and I had a lot of fun with that mechanic. So you can go through and capture some Nazis, and it's quite fun. So the wounded allies also can be dragged to cover, which is an interesting mechanic because it also goes towards for certain ways of doing the mission, so it's like an achievement. So you might have 1 to 3 people you need to save in a mission, and you'll hear them calling out. And like in war, you need to drag your best friend or an ally to safety and get the medical attention, which I thought was a really good. It's basic, but it also brings you further into the feeling of being in this war that claimed so many friends and people throughout. So yeah, no, it's a very interesting game. I did enjoy my time, so it was good to see them do something a little bit different. Yeah, you know, it's the basic Call of Duty setup really. You do your missions one after another, you're killing enemies in waves and completing objectives. So in the campaign, they've done some really good iconic historic battles. So far I've come across quite a few, but 2 standouts for me were the invasion of Normandy, so referred to as D-Day, and also the liberation of Paris. So that was actually quite a great mission, and I really did enjoy that mission. So without giving out too many spoilers, I would say, yeah, hopefully you enjoy the mission as much as what I did, because it was really fantastic. So in the single player campaign, players primarily, what you do is you play as the main person, who is Private Ronald Red Daniels. You also have squad mates, so your best friend being Robert Sussman, Sergeant First Class William Pearson, Private Drew Stiles, and also the platoon leader, First Lieutenant Joseph Turner, played by Jeffrey Pierce. So it's a massive improvement over the boring last year's effort. It is a massive improvement. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, I was just so disappointed with it, and I kind of just wish it never happened with a lot of people. So yeah, it is a massive improvement over that game. However, it's still a Call of Duty game. The foundations are still exactly the same, so don't expect anything revolutionary. So besides a standout mission which involves a plane, and there are a few driving missions which you're seeing now, all the stages felt tight, and I honestly felt like I was being suffocated. Very linear, and also I felt like it was just a corridor shooter even when I was out in the open. So unlike that of Battlefield 1, this is very tight, and yeah, you do feel like there's nowhere to go, where Battlefield 1, the battlefield was a lot more open. So the shooting itself, again, it feels like a standard Call of Duty game. Everything you shoot is overpowered, and all the enemies feel like sponges, so you literally can empty 30 bullets and kill, well, 5 to 10 people. I did feel, while the graphics are nice, They still weren't as good looking as Battlefield 1's Frostbite engine from last year. I mean, the mud and rain just didn't stick out like it does in the 2016 Epic Battlefield 1. I had no issues maxing out the game with a steady 60 to 80 FPS. Ultra 4K was just beautiful to look at. I honestly only had a few dips in frame rate here and there, nothing to stop my gameplay experience. It was very easy to set up, and all the settings weren't in a German code where I was wondering what the hell does that graphics option mean and does it change anything. Everything was pretty straightforward in setting it up. So the story is better, and also it is better than previous Call of Duty games, but it will be forgotten like most games. So you play Call of Duty, you go in there, you finish the main game, and then you forget about it. Unless, obviously, you're in there for multiplayer, which I'll talk about in a second. The multiplayer is actually really a good standout of the game. It's quite fun, and there's a lot to do in this game in terms of multiplayer matches. So the campaign took about 8 hours to complete, the standard Call of Duty runtime, with hallway shooting. There were some great cinematic set pieces. Like every Call of Duty game, you see some amazing stuff when they want to. So yeah, it took me about 8 hours. You could possibly get 10 hours if you wanted to go around and find all the collectibles. That's up to you. So far with multiplayer, I've had no issues getting into a game, and matchmaking has been top notch. So all up, I'm quite impressed with it, but at the same time, don't expect anything revolutionary. It's still Call of Duty. The setting is better. The characters are more advanced, you feel more connected to them, but just remember it is still Call of Duty. So far, I honestly think it's better than the previous efforts, but at the same time, I won't miss Call of Duty next year if they decide to take a year off, which I think is required to reassess what fan and people actually want from this mega franchise. So speaking of multiplayer, it's quite amazing from what I've been playing. World War II, the multiplayer features headquarters mode, which acts as a social space in the game. The massive hub is set on the Omar Beach in Normandy. So 48 players can be in the headquarters at a time and take part in various activities. For example, you can watch people open loot boxes while they're in the headquarters. Wow, that's awesome. More loot boxes, like in every game. Saying that though, I've spent a lot of time, or most of my time so far, in the Nazi zombie modes. It's good to see they're making a comeback with this, because I think it's the best part of Call of Duty. So zombies are back, similar to previous entries by Treyarch and Infinity Ward. And very interestingly, the zombie mode has its own storyline. So it's set in alternative history and separate to the campaign. So the Nazi zombies, it's also set in the events of World War II, but it has its own complete story. And you actually have an option to play the story before you start playing the multiplayer aspect of it, which I did not expect. So yeah, it's quite scary when you're doing some zombie playing and you're huddled up in a 4-person match, and yeah, you're stuck and there's nowhere to go. So I've actually watched quite a few videos online watching the zombie gameplay, and I was definitely on my list of one of the first things to do, because I really like games like Left 4 Dead 2, well, I think it was Dying Light. I still play that game here and there. I just really enjoyed those games, and I liked the idea of survival. So it's good you're going in there with your mates and your other people to go in there and try to help each other survive. So well done to that, Call of Duty. You've done really well. So yeah, 7 out of 10. And thanks for watching. Hope you have a good day.